It was recently voted one of the 5 worst places to live on Earth. Lagos, the commercial capital of Africa's most populous nation, Nigeria. Around 18 million people are crammed into it. It's plagued with immense traffic jams that mean most people have to set off for work at 5 a.m. And you can forget trying to make more than one appointment.
So what is it that the elites are telling us? They're telling us that when we take this 1 million immigrants, that we somehow or another are tackling world poverty. And we have to do it regardless of the effect on our unemployed, the working poor, the most vulnerable members of our society, regardless of the effect on our natural resources. Even if we went by the most radical proposals in Washington, which are to actually double our immigration to 2 million a year, which would totally overwhelm our physical, natural, and social infrastructures, we couldn't make a noticeable difference. And we may be really hurting the impoverished people of the world because the million that we do take are among the most energetic, often the better educated, certainly the most dissatisfied people that if they did not immigrate would be the agents for change to improve the lot of all the people in these countries. The true heroes in the global humanitarian field are the people in these countries who have the wherewithal to immigrate to another country, but instead stay in their countries, to apply their skills to help their fellow countrymen.
What's the value of a good job? For the impoverished and vulnerable in the world's poorest countries, a good job is the most direct pathway out of poverty. Jobs have the power to transform societies and improve the standard of living for all.
Line, but the biggest effects, an estimated 75,000 jobs, came from having reliable power.
Right. When you think of the word nuclear, what comes to mind? It's probably some terrifying thought. I can't blame anyone for being nervous. It's a technology that we've been using for decades that can really reduce global warming, but it's not exactly something environmentalists are that excited about.
The first thing many people think of is nuclear war and mushroom clouds. You add into that major events like 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl and now most recently Fukushima, and those have had incredibly profound consequences on people's immediate feelings and images and associations with this technology.
When you look at the technology and you ask yourself, how are we going to solve this problem of climate change? To not have nuclear energy be on the table makes the job much harder.
The next generation reactors are using fuel much more efficiently. Transatomic's reactor design will use fuel in a liquid form so that it can stay in the reactor for a longer period of time.
A lot of the advanced nuclear reactors can consume much more of the energy from the uranium. You can get much higher fuel utilization, which means that you're leaving significantly less waste behind.
And this is a trend in the field. This new design, known as a fuel pebble, encases uranium in a golf ball-sized sphere. It's made of a very strong ceramic material that can withstand much higher temperatures so it cannot melt and is safer to use. Okay, so why hasn't this happened yet? I mean, we have better materials. We have reactors with new designs and fuels that make less waste. It actually sounds like we have the answers to our problems. So what's the catch?
You know the old phrase, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. People's first impression of nuclear energy and nuclear power was mushroom clouds. And as it's got the word nuclear associated with it, it's just going to be very difficult to convince people, no, we mean it this time. This one's safe.
For us. I want to tell you a little bit about the current situation with nuclear technology here in Australia. The first thing to tell you is that Australia prohibits the use of nuclear energy. Under Section 140A of our Environmental Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act, a minister must not approve one of several things, all of them nuclear, one of them a nuclear power station. That's a curious position for Australia to be in. Firstly, nuclear energy today is used in over 30 nations, and 19 out of 20 G20 nations either use nuclear power now or are very actively planning and preparing to use nuclear power in the near future. Australia does not. We are the third largest supplier of uranium to the global market, and we have the largest known deposits of uranium. Australia is a key player in the global nuclear cycle. And the energy in our uranium that we export every year is equivalent to Australia's total annual domestic electricity consumption without greenhouse gas emissions. That's how much clean energy we're exporting in the form of uranium oxide fuel and declining to use. How could we have developed a situation of such startling hypocrisy? How could we sell the fuel for a technology we ban?